Hi all, Stephen from Alcohol Free Lifestyle. I was going to talk about what we miss out on when we drink, because when we drink, we tend to forget about what we're missing out on, and I look back and I think, well, I missed out on being fit. I used to like being fit when I was not drinking too much, you would say. I missed out on relationships, I missed out on family events, I missed out on a lot of things, and I think, well, the drink was more important to me then, you see. People say, well, why don't you have an early night, you feel better for work the next day? Okay, I'll try that, but I ended up going to the pub, It was always easier to go to the pub than to tackle something. I had a little job around the house, so I just go to the pub instead, or get a few cans that would never get done properly. You miss out on so much when you're drinking. And at the end, I missed out on having a car, I missed out on having a relationship, I missed out on seeing my daughter, I missed out on good food, I missed out on holidays, I missed out on cash, because I wasn't investing money, I was just spending it, wasting it. My body missed out totally on nutrition, and mental health suffered, and all this sort of thing. But when we drink, we dismiss these things. Oh, I know I'm going to feel rough tomorrow, but I'll still have a drink anyway. But when you actually add up the things that it does for you, it's zero, isn't it? All the benefits of not drinking are massive, because you'll not miss out on very much, really. You'll be reliable, your relationships will be better, your health will be better, your life will be better all round. So, getting back to when I was drinking, I used to think, well, a few pints will not harm. But it did an accumulative effect. You see, it's drinking regular is a problem. Or even just binge drinking. Any alcohol is bad for you, especially if you have too much of it. And when you're younger, you think you're bomb-proof, but you're not, You're not. The amount of people I know in the late 30s and 40s that have developed some sort of problem from drinking, it's incredible. It's a very high number of people who are drinking too much these days. And they're missing out on everything. I know guys in their 40s who haven't really travelled anywhere, they haven't moved for work, they've lost their all ambition. All they see is the bright lights of the booze, and then they're in there all day. A lot of them haven't got jobs now, struggling financially, and they're missing out on so much in life. Because when you get sober, even the small things are brilliant. The chance to go for a walk, the chance to get some fresh air, the chance to go to the beach. It doesn't cost a lot to go for a walk. It costs nothing, just only got a pair of shoes. Most people have got that. So this excuse about I can't eat particularly well because I don't know how to cook, it doesn't take long to peel a banana, does it? Or eat an apple. What you do is wash it and eat it. A lot of excuses come in when you're drinking. I was exactly the same. My dad said, why don't you get fit? Why don't you try for this other department in your work and all that? I'd rather just go to the pub, because it was easier. And I think we become lazy. And that's why we miss out. Because to be successful in anything, you've got to put some effort in. And I think stopping it and staying sober, starting drinking and getting sober, or staying sober, is the hardest battle of my life, because I was right at the back. If you're at the front, it's not so bad. And I was like, whoa, way above. If you've got these two, maybe here, you're not too bad, and you can juggle things around a bit, that's not so bad. But when you're physically and mentally ill with it, it's a long battle back. And every day you miss out on more, because you can do less and less and less. I got to the point where I couldn't even go to the pub in the end. It was just self-medication. I couldn't really get in a taxi without any assistance. I was like an invalid when I was 57. And then I was in hospital, and I had to rely on people to do everything for me, which is not a good place to be. But that is at any age, to be fair, especially when you've been independent. And I think that's one of the biggest things you lose, your independence, because you're relying on other people to deliver your drink, to get you a drink, to sometimes pay for your drink. You rely on other people to get you some food and clean up after yourself. It's just horrendous. You'll get cleaners in, people have all sorts of issues with finance as well. And I speak to quite a lot of people who are unfortunately living on the streets now, and they have all been pretty much the same, decent jobs and been married with kids, just the usual thing. And they've just lost it, because you're only 3 payments away from being on the street. But if you lose your mortgage, you can't pay your mortgage, they'll have you out on the street pretty quick. Same with rents now. If you can't pay your rent, you're out. It's a survival of the fittest, my mother always said. She's 93, she's quite wise. And it's very true that in these hard economic times are taking the toll on people. And that's why the NHS is on its knees as well, with all the problems they have with diabetes, with alcohol issues. And there's still smoking going on, it's not bad. There's more drug taking though, isn't there? There's people taking vapes and all that sort of thing. But overall, what you miss out on with alcohol is your independence. and you're not able to do things. I can do what I want now at 3 o'clock in the morning, anytime I like, because I'm sober all the time. But when you drink, you tend to focus on the drink. How am I going to feel tomorrow if I have a drink? Can I attend that social drink? Can I attend that social drink if I don't have a drink before? I was drinking to go for a drink, if that makes sense. You know, planning to go for a drink, then going for a drink, and then recovering. It was a 24-hour job. So you're missing out on life. I've never seen a happy alcoholic. Never met one. They might be okay for the first couple of hours, and then you just see them in the corner of the boozer, down and dour and feeling sorry for themselves. You don't become happy by being an alcoholic. You become very happy when you're sober, because your body fights for you back. You see, it'll fight for everything. It'll give you all it's got to get you back healthy again, and to get rid of all the toxins, the poison you've been putting in it. So if you want to get healthy and fit again, then you have to stop drinking. It's as simple as that. There's no no halfway house here, because we as alcoholics or problem drinkers or heavy drinkers, wherever way you want to spin it, we cannot have a glass of wine with an evening meal. We cannot have 2 halves of beer on a Sunday. It's not possible. It's a better analogy I use. If you're 4'5", you can't be 6'3". It's a crazy idea you get in your head, you see, and you think of all the benefits it's going to bring. It brings 0 benefits, and it brings a lot of grief and a lot of hell to people's lives. That's the only way I can describe the last few years. It was hell, torture, sadness, deep dark thoughts, really took me down to the bottom of the bottle. I couldn't get back up again. I used to think every evening I'll have a few drinks and I'll feel better tomorrow. Always felt worse, and you neglect your personal hygiene, you neglect your property, you neglect your family, you forget about everything. You neglect your health, as in if you've got another health issue, you don't go and see the doctor because you don't want to admit how much you're drinking. You're frightened to be diagnosed by the doctors. Everybody, bar none, tells the doctors lies about how much to drink. That's what I've been told by a GP, who's a friend of mine, ex-GP. Everyone. You've got to double it now at 30, I think, because nobody wants to admit it, do they? Because there's a social stigma, oh, drink too much. Well, so what? It's your health at the end of the day. It's your life, isn't it? It's your body, it's your brain. You look after yourself. So the independence thing, think about that. Next time you've had a couple of days off the drink and you think, well, I'll just have 1 or 2 because I feel better in myself and I've done this, I've done that, or I feel worse, or whatever the reason is. If you say that first drink, just think about what you're going to lose from it. Because it's like a pack of cards falling, isn't it? It just tumbles down, everything tumbles down upon you. And then you lose your house, and you lose your dignity, you just lose everything. And you lose your mind in the end, and you lose your life. It's not a good place to be. A heavy drinker is not a happy person. Alcoholic is not a happy person. You don't see many alcoholics skipping around the street because they can't, because they're completely controlled and trapped by alcohol. This is the issue, isn't it? Don't lose your independence. Don't lose anything. Gain everything. Sobriety will allow you to gain a lot back, you see. And all alcohol will do is take from you. It gives you nothing but grief. If you're interested in any one-to-one support, then let me know. I've got an ebook out as well. I'll put the link in the description. And any questions, please drop me a line. I'll speak to you all very soon. And remember, don't lose your independence.